Yo, welcome to another episode of Maximus Unplugged. We're going to jump right into this. Let me tell you something, man. We're going to get right to this. All right? For generations, we were told to wait. We were told next election, wait for policy changes, wait for a leader to rise up that's going to fix the system for us. But here is the hard truth that you all have to face. No one is coming to save us. When I talk about us, I'm talking about us black people. This is a fact that we have to get next to. And for those naysayers who always say, oh, the system is bullshit and oh, there's no point in bothering because of blah, 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 let me tell you something. That is the mentality they want you to have. When I say they, it's about the establishment that knows the power that the black vote can have, the power that a unified black people can have. They know how powerful and how dangerous that is. And because of that, they do everything in their power to systemically discourage you from engaging in this system. When the truth is, the best way to win is to be a part of it. Engage the best you can. Everybody can't be a politician, but you still need to be locked in. You got to realize now, if you haven't realized at any other time in your life, that politics clearly is a primary moving factor in your life. There is no question about that at this point. There are so many systemic issues involved with what's going on in this context. Think about it like this. They gerrymander maps to play with the voting. Why do you think that they do that so often? Because a unified black people scares them, especially because it's not even just us. The other minorities are very much aligned with us in many ways. And when we come together, we're actually more of a majority than we are a minority, as white birthing rates are actually in a negative at this point. We have a birthing rate collectively as minorities of 50.4% as of now. These things matter. They see the writing on the wall. That's why there's all this scrambling to try to put all these systemic things in place to leave us assed out, to limit our ability to engage. That is not a thing done by mistake. It's done by design. And it's time that y'all wake up and realize it. You have to get active in whatever possible ways that you can. No longer can we sit back and just say, oh, well, it is what it is. It don't matter who the president is. It don't matter who this is and that. You could tell that motherfucker's been asleep because you'll see some of the most ineffectual people in Congress that have been there for 15, 20 years because it's only the same 20% of the population that votes for him. No. We have to be active in every single way, shape, and form. Active in our communities, actively supporting our businesses, actively working together to uplift each other. This is how you become the savior that you need. You sit up here and wait. There's no MLK or Malcolm X coming to be the forefront at this point. In this day and time, what you need is you need to believe in yourselves. Come together, work with your family, encourage your families individually to come together, get involved in town hall meetings, not just, oh, we're going to pay attention to who's voting for president. No. We paying attention to everything. We paying attention to the alderman. We paying attention to the congressperson. We paying attention to the council members. We paying attention to every single position, Senate, governor, all of that shit. And another thing is, this is why we need to affect change, because there's something else. and even though I'm going to go deeper into this in another video, one of the problems is we have the same motherfuckers that sit on the Supreme Court for far too long. Those should be term jobs, not lifelong jobs. Why? Because the times change and things change, and the person that appointed you is no longer there, and the ideals of the next person that's coming in is going to be different. So they should at least be some kind of vote that could be put in to see who gets to stay, who gets removed. We need to hold every single person in government accountable. There should be nobody just appointed and then they get to sit there and fart on the damn position until they die. No. Shit like that and bad appointments. For example, we have RFK Jr. who doesn't know health from the hole in his ass, but is sitting up here the head of the health department. Like, what? We got somebody operating as the Department of Defense. I'm not going to call it the Department of War because that's bullshit. It's the Department of Defense. And this DOD is DUMB. Pete Hegseth is trash. Garbage. This guy's a joke. But why are these things in place? Why do we have the access of evil in place? Why do we have crazy ass grocery prices, gas prices, all these other things? As Black individuals, we are some of the most hardworking people in this country. I said it before and I say it again, and I don't care who tries to tell me different, but we the motherfuckers that built this country from scratch. Before any other immigrants came here, we were dragged here on ships along with our Native American cohorts, who the ones who weren't exterminated, that were put to work on the land, tilling the land, helping to build the agriculture, building the systems. If you actually do your research, a lot of the shit like the traffic light and many other inventions that are used to this day in America, around the world, was an invention by a Black person. We have contributed in so many ways. The existence of us is weaved deeply into the fabric of America. There is no questioning our contributions. And the thing is, we need to do this step by step. We need to start with economic sovereignty. Economic sovereignty means we need to, and this doesn't mean we don't work with others, no, but we need to build up our communities, build up our businesses. If you live in an HRA apartment, then that shit should be spick and fucking span, not smelling like fucking piss. If you live in some kind of project building, have pride. There shouldn't be garbage all set up in the front. And if there is, you hold the people accountable that's supposed to be handling that shit. You don't just sit back and walk past it. Any old person could just walk in your doors any time of the day or night. There's no security on this. And I've tested it. I've done videos on that on my TikTok that you can see where person A either couldn't get in with their key, or B, could any old person from the street could just wander in there like we ain't got children in there, or we ain't got old elderly people or whoever. It's a safety issue. But the thing is this all starts from us starting to become economic sovereign, meaning that we need to be on some shit where we are literally building our communities economically. We take our money and we feed it back into our communities so that we can build our businesses up to have a better situation. And then we make sure that we're properly protected. So this way, if somebody wants to come with some Tulsa, Oklahoma energy, we're going to show them what happens when you try to pack us up, because we're going to pack you up. That's the timing we need to be on. We need to also work on our education. You know, we need to control the narrative. Yes, the educational system, we can't all afford to send to private schools or charter schools or whatever the fuck. So what you got to do is you got to be educating your children at home. And I know it's hard because you have 2 jobs and you're trying to make it, and we get it. But you've got to do what, even if you only have 20 minutes, trust me, it makes a difference. I do it with my son sometimes. I'll just talk to him about stuff, educate him on finance. Finance is a big one. A lot of people don't understand how money works. So even when they get money, they end up botching it or getting screwed over because they don't understand how it works. I'll give you an example of having the knowledge and shutting some shit the fuck up. Yesterday, I get a phone call. It's some alleged payday loan thing saying I owe them money. I know I didn't owe them no money because here's a joke. I'm in New York. In New York, about 99% of payday loans are illegal. Like, you can't take them. If you try, it'll say, oh, we can't serve you because you're in New York. I know because back in the days I tried. And here's the joke. When I spoke to them on the phone, because I had knowledge, because I educated myself, I spoke to them on the phone. I said, yo, okay, if this is a debt that I owe, I'll be happy to work with y'all, satisfy it, but I need this in writing because just talking to you on the phone, I'm not going to commit to anything because legally, if you say, and they're on a recorded line so they can hold this over you, if you go and say, hey, I'm agreeing to this deal, because they'll ask you to settle the debt for like 25% of what is totally owed, some bullshit like that. And they gave me one of those deals. I said, I don't recognize this. I didn't give them no information. Never did I say my name. What I did do, they asked if it was me. I said, okay, what's up? Then they came, they had a little bit of bullshit information, try to make it sound like they actually knew something about me. Okay, cool. So I said, they said that they exhausted their attempts trying to reach me. I said, really? I said, I've gotten nothing in the mail from you guys, so how's that possible? I said, what address do you have? They gave me the address. I said, oh, well, there's your problem. I live in an apartment building. There's like 1,000 units in here. So you don't have an apartment number. How are you exhausting your attempts to reach me? That means you have made no attempts to reach me. And if you haven't made any attempts to reach me, there's no way that I can verify if this is a legit debt or not. So what you need to do is you need to go back to your source, tell them to get the proper information, get the proper documentation, submit that to me. I'll have it looked over by my lawyer. And if this is valid, then we'll work out a deal to get this handled. Other than that, you have a nice day. Guess what they did? They got off the phone. Yes, I took time in the show to explain that. Why? Because it's about having the knowledge. Knowledge is truly power. And that rolls back to the economic thing. If you are intelligent in economics, if you understand how money works, when all these investments are coming down the pipe, you'll understand how to work it so that you can get the most out of your dollar, learn how to reinvest, learn how to do your proper tax write-offs. Because so many people that I've done their taxes, so many people leave money on the table. It's crazy. And the tax laws is right there. So the basic part of this is that you have to educate yourself. Knowledge is power of everything. To not have that knowledge, to not have that understanding is a major setback to you and to your immediate community. If you want these things to improve, the only way it's ever going to change is for you to be willing to take action to make it happen. These are not things that are going to happen by sitting back and being complacent or saying, well, it's not affecting me right now, so I'm not going to worry about it. That's bullshit. Don't wait for the disaster to come and then be reactionary. That's why we sit at the bottom of the totem pole, because we do not take action enough. We have to start taking action, holding each other accountable, getting our families involved in the process, making sure that whatever's going down, that it is always a situation where we're putting ourselves in a position to win. We have to look towards our elders or those who are definitely of a higher level of wisdom of us. Always learn from each other. That is so important because the thing is that one of the biggest jokes that they try to talk about is us having this crab in the barrel mentality. And the thing is, I don't think it's so much a myth though, because there are those who definitely are on some crab in a barrel shit. 100%. And these people, listen, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. And the thing is that some of our kinfolk might be other races other than ours. But the key thing is that anybody that's aligned with wanting to have a fair shake at a job. Think about the things that they got rid of in this administration. They removed DEI, which ironically actually benefited white women more than it benefited us. We were like number 5 on the list with that. But even still, that's still something that was helping us out. Then they had this whole reparations thing. And then certain black folk that call themselves the bourgeoisie, black people that say, oh, we're good. We don't need any reparations. We could just pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and we'll figure it out because we can do this. All y'all sound stupid. I'm going to tell you why y'all sound stupid. Here's the thing. Every single culture, race, religious sect, or other that has been in some way, I'll basically, let's say this, any marginalized people that have been disenfranchised due to the oppression of a stronger nation, once the smoke is cleared and they are now looking for the forgiveness for doing their forgiveness or as you call their redemption arc, that is when the reparations is supposed to pour down. Why? Because think about this. Them January 6th, Trump creates a slush fund for them and then says, oh, we're going to give them reparations for their pain and suffering. They suffered not even for a year. To this day, systemic racism and systemic discriminatory policies are still actively, and this is why reparations is still valid, because there are active discriminatory policies put in place to still oppress us as a people as of right now. The rolling back of voting rights is an example of that. The rolling back of birthing rights. Because understand, the powers that may be and those that have the advantage, which are not us, can still get those things done. But you know who it stops? It stops you from having that choice. You, the black individual or person of color who is coming here either as an immigrant or as a legacy African American and trying to make it work in this system where still to this day, if you have the wrong name, you can have all the qualifications in the world. But if you got the wrong name, you may not get picked for that job. Why? Because they also eliminated the civil rights laws that were in place that protected that kind of discrimination. All of these things are things that they have put in place to oppress you. This is why you have to be involved. This is why there is no more sitting on the sidelines and saying, oh, it's all good, or oh, we're going to figure this out on our own, or oh, we're going to blah, blah. No, there's no more of that. That cannot stand anymore. We have to take action if we are ever going to rise above the circumstances that we currently have. We are going to hold these politicians accountable. You got Stephen A. talking about, oh, well, and I get where he's coming from because he's saying, oh, if we vote for for the Republicans one time, then the Democrats. Listen, now this is how we do. The Republicans have no issue in any person of color's agenda being taken into account. Even those that try to align with them, that are soft shoeing and shucking and jiving for them, are not getting anything they really want. They think they are. They think because they're down that they're going to get. No. At the most, they may sprinkle a couple of crumbs on you like a good little doggy and you go lick them off the floor. No, what we are going to do is we are going to hold everyone accountable. But the way we're going to do it, since like I said, I'm a registered independent, but I do tend to vote Democrat most of the time. And here's the thing, especially in this day and age, because the Republican Party has totally lost its mind, completely lost its mind. And here's the thing. No, the Democrats should not assume we got to vote. There's also a such thing as an independent. If the independents are talking our language, if they're going for us, if they are doing things that are going to benefit us. And you know what's funny? I want to invite my working class white folk and my other minorities into this conversation. Come to the barbecue with me. Come join us. You know why? Because we all in this shit together. We all the ones getting screwed over by the system. Yes, black folks are systemically attacked at a higher rate. It's obvious. You can look at anything. You could look at the prison system. You could look at unemployment. This is like tons of black women lost their jobs due to this DEI, the rolling back of DEI and people getting laid off. Guess who they were laying off? So many things have been going wrong out here. It all starts from this administration, but in truth, it really starts with us because we have to be the ones to make the choice to go and hold all politicians accountable. If you are not doing what is benefiting us, the working class people, you are up out of here. Sorry, not sorry. We getting you all the fuck out of here. There's no question, no equivocations, no conversations to the other way. No, all it's gonna be is either you gonna get down with us or you gonna get the fuck out of that office. Because it is insane. Some of the people that are still sitting with these jobs. If we did half the shit that these politicians, especially the president, have done in their jobs, if we fucked up halfway to that level, we'd be on the street unemployed like a motherfucker. So I want y'all to understand that what is going to happen moving forward is every business that does not consider us and supports things that work against us, we don't support. Build up our businesses so that we also have economic leverage in this community instead of being the ones spending the most money putting it into everybody else's community. We need to stop that. We also need to take action when it comes to voting because if nothing has made it more obvious about the importance of voting, it is seeing the gerrymandering. They're literally showing you their playbook. You see the gerrymandering, you see the rewriting of the maps, you see the laws being changed to manipulate or make voting harder for us. Because if we're discouraged, then we may not as likely vote, which will put most of us out there because they know what's coming for them in these midterms. They know what's coming in the primaries. They know. But at the end of the day, it is up to you to make up your mind to say, you know what? No more. No more am I going to allow somebody who could barely keep a taco stand running be the president of the United States. No more. No more am I going to listen to somebody who can barely speak properly or barely even do anything right as far as how they take care of themselves. Try to tell me about how the Department of Health should be running or how the Department of Health, what their messaging should be. No more. No more should we have judges just sitting and taking up space for 25, 35 years if they are not doing the job that they're supposed to do, if they're not acting as unbiased actors of the law. Because every single branch of government is going to hear the same two words: no more. No more do we sit back. Oh, we're going to watch them get those reparations and we don't get ours. Listen, man, we will tear this whole motherfucker down and build it back up because we the ones that built this bitch anyway. We will tear this whole shit down if you do not give us, the marginalized black people of all different nationalities throughout the country, those from the West Indies, those from wherever else. Listen, all of us were disenfranchised because of the system that is currently in place. Under those pretenses, we are very much still entitled to our reparations, and no more do we not get heard on that. You think you're going to keep your job? No more. So I'm going to close this like this. I challenge you all to be the savior in your community. Take a stand. Get active. Those that don't know, educate them. The ones who want to debate you, debate them back. Come with cold hard facts, and you will happily shut them the fuck up. Be the change that you need in your community. If we do that collectively, our power will be unmatched. Because, like I said before, understand all the other minorities and working class white folks are in this same boat with us. We all in this shit together. So, with that being said, I thank y'all for watching. I thank y'all very much for coming out and watching this show. Very much appreciate y'all taking the time to watch this. It's having some technical difficulties, so I apologize if there's a couple of breaks in this, but the message is still the same. Work together, we thrive. Separate, we just barely survive. That being said, I'll holler at y'all later. Peace out.